Josh, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm great. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
I was hoping you'd be making it to San Francisco this weekend.
I mean, I was looking forward to it, and obviously pre-COVID times, like this was the game
I know.
scheduled and that everybody had circled.
Have the fam drive up from Firebaugh and the whole crowd?
Yeah. I mean, shoot, we would have had a whole section.
1,000.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll have to look forward to the next time.
Absolutely.
I used to play in the WAC. We played in Laramie.
Did you really?
Wyoming every year. Every year we went to Wyoming. And everyone always said to me, the question comes up, where's the toughest place to play? And they always think that I'll say, with the Eagles in Philadelphia or, in Green Bay or Detroit. Or I'm like, no, the toughest place I ever played was Laramie, Wyoming. Let me tell you, some tough fans, rough place, rough crowd, and rough weather.
Yeah.
I mean, as any place could get you ready for Buffalo, and the great people of Buffalo is the great people of Laramie, Wyoming.
That's right. No, just like you said, it's in between mountain ranges and the wind that goes through there. I mean, you wake up every morning, it's 0 or negative degrees. So when it's sunny here, especially, I'm rocking shorts and no sleeves. So it's definitely prepped me for this.
Yeah, no, I was the fan. I mean, it was just, you have to be tough. It was tough-minded. Those Cowboys are tough-minded guys. And I always said the toughest place I ever played was Laramie, Wyoming.
Yeah,
so
I'd have to agree with you.
We have that in common. So you think about, Tom Brady is famous for having the chip on his shoulder. We all have things that drive us or incent us to play better, or things that we want to prove people wrong. And I know that Reedley College would probably be a fair way to kind of connect that dot for you, wanting to go to Fresno. It doesn't happen, end up in Wyoming. What is your chip? What drives you? What is your chip on the shoulder? You're like that something in the past that mine was, my college coach told me he wouldn't coach a lefty, and I wanted to prove him wrong that lefties can do it. So what is there a chip that you have on your shoulder that kind of drives you?
Well, I mean, I think it's just kind of my upbringing, my hometown. Coming out of high school, obviously I had 0 offers, and I took that extremely personally, and then going to junior college. And the reason I went to junior college instead of walking on somewhere, because my parents could have, they could have put me through college somewhere, but I made a promise to myself that I wasn't going to let them pay for my college. So when I went to junior college, that was the only thing on my mind, was getting a scholarship, no matter where it came from. And, it only came from one spot. Fortunately for me, it turned out really well, but I ended up having 2 actual offers to Eastern Michigan and Wyoming. Eastern Michigan ended up pulling their offer because I couldn't go visit them. And then Eastern Michigan beat me twice while I was at Wyoming. So it was a weird situation. It is what it is, but I'm definitely glad how it turned out. And it's made me the man that I am. And, it's made the story all that much better.
You coming back and playing the 49ers when growing up in Firebaugh, I swear, Josh, I used to go, we had the booster clubs all over California, Northern California, and they would send us out to go talk to the booster clubs during the off season. That's why it was so funny to look back in those days. I promise you, I was in Firebaugh. I probably talked to your parents at one of the booster club meetings in Firebaugh for the 49ers. That is 49er country down there you grew up in.
It's huge 49er country. I mean, it's either one or the other, though. It's either huge 49er or huge Raider. And it's like the feud between families down there. Like, you either love your cousins on your dad's side or you hate your cousins on your mom's side, because they're never the same. But like you said, it's a big-time 49er faithful down there.
It's not fair you're 6'6". If you run around like you do, you're supposed to be 6 foot. You're supposed to be short, and everyone says you're too short to play. And, that's a chip on your shoulder you don't have to deal with, right? But you're 6'6" and can run like the wind, and it's crazy. The game you have is very similar as mine, but yet you're so much taller, which is, again, amazing to me. How do you take that game in? Do you feel like, I used to feel like people would say, oh, you're a scrambling quarterback. You're not really a quarterback. The game has changed a lot to today, so you probably don't hear that much. But do you feel a little bit of anyone shame you around your mobility and they want you to stay in the pocket more? Or how do you feel about your total game? Do you like being able to get out and go?
Yeah, I think it's an added element that, defenses have to focus on when they game plan. we don't call too many quarterback designed runs. And when we do, it's very minimal. It's a third down here or there. But most of my runs come off scramble, just trying to escape and extend the play. And, I feel like I do a good job of keeping my eyes downfield, but when the opportunity presents itself to run, that's what I have to do. And again, it's just that added element that teams have to focus on, and it takes away from other game planning type deals. But I mean, if it were up to me, I would stand in the pocket all day and throw it to our guys that actually know how to juke and stiff arm and do all that stuff instead of lumbering down the field and getting hit like myself. But I'm learning. It's been a fun process of kind of being my rookie year as kind of like a one read then run type of guy, now to progressing through different reads and having your concepts that you really feel comfortable with. And if you get to your third or fourth read and it's not there and that time clock goes off in your head and it's time to go. But it's definitely an asset, and I feel like I utilize it pretty well. But again, I know the best ability is availability, so limiting those hits and trying to get the ball out quicker is something that's been on my mind.
I'm telling you, hold on to it, Josh. Even at 38, I ran the ball around when needed, when it was useful, and I think that's where you're trying to get to. In the game today, there's no question there are so many free yards for quarterbacks to go get. And the guys that can't go get them, I think, are at a huge disadvantage. So please don't lose that. I know you don't want to end up with the ball in your hands, but your teammates will recognize over time that you've done all you can to get rid of the ball, and now it's time for me to actually go get the first down, go get the yardage, and they'll get used to it. But so don't let anyone shame you away from taking those free yards.
Never,
all right?
Never.
I saw you. I was actually in the playoff game last year in Houston. We covered the pregame and watched you. And the guy that played that game and the guy that's played this season is different. You are more settled. You are much more efficient. I still think you're trying to figure out how to give in on a play because you feel like you are Superman because you have the ability to do that. You're trying to figure that out, but you are a much more settled, efficient quarterback than you were back then. Is that how you describe the difference from last year? Yeah,
I think I know myself a little better. I think that's key is, self-knowledge and understanding what you can and can't do on the field. And, I spent a lot of this offseason with, Jordan Palmer and working on mechanics and trying to find the right stroke for me. Not only that, we brought in Coach Ken Dorsey last year, who's been huge for me. And I don't know if you know Ken, but the juice that he brings to our quarterback room, and obviously being in year 3 with Coach Dable, it's just been a good mesh. We've been using the same terminology and the same verbiage. I feel very comfortable talking with Dable and taking concepts that I don't like out and putting some that I like in, and he's been super open to that. But I mean, again, it's taken a whole community here to kind of figure out what the best way to go forward as an offense was, and we're being, like you say, extremely efficient, especially on first down right now. And, our third down conversion rate is it's up there, but, got to still limit some of those turnovers, some of those turnover-worthy plays too. So that's something I'm still working on. And like you said, when to say when and give up on a play and take a sack or throw the ball away. And I guess we'll continue to learn as time goes on.
But Josh, I want you to know that the whole team has to kind of grow with you. My offensive line had to figure out how to block for me. My game was a little bit different, and I know that that's a transition that your offensive line is going through. And that's just my little advice for you to not recognize it's not just you kind of figuring it out. I think the whole team's trying to figure out you've got so much talent. You've got the ability to do so many things. How do you figure out how to limit in the right place at the right time? But they're trying to figure it out too. So be patient with, there are times when I'm sure they say, where's he going? I blocked that guy, and now he ends up running into a sack. Or what? All that stuff has to kind of, find its place over time. And I know that's a big difference from last year to this year. Is it felt like the whole team has ingested Josh Allen in a real positive way. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I definitely do. And it's always good when linemen can come up to you and kind of tap you on the butt and be like, "Thank you for getting out of that one for me." And but there are some times too when you hold on to the ball a little too long, you try to make something happen where it results in the opposite outcome. But, like you said, offensive linemen, knowing if you're going to scramble or not, and knowing where to put their hands. If you're a guy that kind of steps up and gets out, inside, they learn how to protect for you like that instead of, holding on to a shoulder pad and getting a holding call. And it does take time, but I think, like you said, we've progressed over the last year pretty nicely. And the scary thing is, I think we still have a lot of room to grow.
Oh, I agree 100%. Room to grow, but you're already on the cusp of winning the division. First time since 1995. How old were you?
-1 years old.
-1. That is some time, Josh. How does that feel? How do you sense that happening around Buffalo? What's it mean to the team that you're on this? I mean, it looks like you're on the cusp of the division, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we know we still have games left to play. 8-3, 8 wins doesn't typically get it done. So we understand what needs to be done, but we are focusing one game at a time. And obviously that's the San Francisco 49ers on Monday night in Arizona, no less. So we don't want anything to kind of take our focus or distract us away from the task at hand, and that it is winning the division. Coach McDermott has the standard here, and it's called playoff caliber. The easiest way to get in the playoffs is winning your division. So that's number one on top of our list right now. So that's what we're focusing on doing. And again, we still have 5 games left that we got to go out there and compete and put our best foot forward.
Sure. I've never gotten an apology letter from fans in my life. How does it feel that they doubted your long ball, and then now you get an actual apology letter from the fans saying the excuses they used to doubt your long ball? I don't know. Most quarterbacks, I can say, I've experienced anything you've ever experienced. I now have. You've experienced something I never did. What does that feel like to get an apology letter from the fans?
I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really bother me or doesn't flatter me all that much. I'm an extremely self-driven person, and I do have a lot of confidence in myself. So, I take ownership for the last couple of years of, mishaps and miscues, and understood that, I was growing and learning, and I still have those, dreams and aspirations of growing and learning as to be the best quarterback that I can be. But like you said, the apology letter, or the form, whatever you want to call it, I guess it was cool. It was something to talk about, but I care about the guys in this locker room and the staff here and what they think about me. So that's all I focus on.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.